Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how I built strong arms without any weights and without even going to the gym. So basically at the time I've recorded this video, I've never once been to a gym in my entire life, and I basically trained calisthenics with body weight only, and I was able to grow my arms from this little skinny chopstick arms to what you see right here, okay? These are my arms like 2 weeks before recording this video, whatever, or 3, I don't know. Not sure, but basically a short time, right? So I did train at home with some light weights before that, however, nothing really serious. So I mainly grew my arms with body weight movements only, without any equipment, right? Basically just training outside of the park, right? And today I'm going to teach you how you can do the exact same and how you can and how you can build arms like this too, even though you don't have weights. So don't give up. Even though a lot of people tell you for big arms you need weights, it's not really true, okay? So let's start. I assume when you're watching this that you know that your arm has two parts, right? The triceps and the biceps. I'm pretty sure that you know that. If you don't, in case you don't know, now you know. Your triceps makes up about 66%, biceps about 34. Basically, triceps would be 2/3, bicep would be 1/3. Just like a rule of thumb, whatever, right? So your triceps will grow with any kind of pressing movement, whether that be push-ups, dips, pike push-ups, push-ups on your knees, whatever, right? Triceps are always gonna grow with pushing movements. It's basically impossible to completely eliminate any kind of tricep involvement. You can make it less you can make the triceps less involved. However, you can't fully throw it out. That's basically impossible, right? So your triceps will always grow with any kind of pressing movement as long as you train hard enough, right? So, if you're trying to grow a tricep specifically, I would recommend you to do dips instead, to mainly focus on dips instead of push-ups, simply because dips are known to be a very effective compound movement, pushing compound movement in general, that has a lot of tricep involvement. The push-up doesn't have as much at the dip, obviously it has still a lot, but not as much. But dips are really going to help you grow those massive big, massive big back of your arms, right? Next one. So if you want to grow the long head, do body weight skull crushers on the low bar. I'll show you what the long head is, right? So triceps basically has free head. That's why it's called triceps, because tri in Latin means free. Okay. So you have the long head, which is the big sort of part on the back of your arm. You have the lateral head and you have the medial head. All of these free heads will be hit with dips in some way, shape, or form, right? Now the long head, honestly, not as much, but still a little. So it's gonna be mainly the lateral head and the medial head. If you want to grow this part specifically, and you feel like isolating your arms at the end of your push day or upper day, then I would recommend you to do bodyweight skull crushers on the low bar. Just type that in on Google. It's a pretty easy exercise. Do 2 sets at the end of your workout to failure, 2-3 minutes rest in between, and that would be it. Basically for triceps, it's gonna grow with pushing movements, mainly dips, so focus on dips. And at the end you can incorporate some bodyweight skull crushers. This is basically the only sort of tricep movement with bodyweight that activates your long head, right? So I think we're finished with the triceps, let's move on. So, quick interruption guys, if you didn't already know, I actually have an online program. It's called Skinny to Jacked Academy. And it's my online community where I teach skinny men how to build muscle efficiently without much equipment and time. And in my program we stick to the basics and I actually focus on what works and what has worked for me, as you can see. And by joining you'll have access to lots of things like one weekly one-on-one coaching call with me where we will discuss your progress, your routines, etc. Also, you can ask me any kind of questions, I'll help you out, no problem. You're gonna get a personalized workout routine and split based on your specific schedule. I'm gonna make this personally for you. Basically, you're gonna show me your schedule and I will craft a split and routine that works for you. It does not matter even if you have twice a week, 20 minutes, it doesn't matter. We can make something work. Also, you're gonna have a forum where you can ask any sort of question and you're gonna get it answered very quickly. I promise that. You also have PDFs with sample stuff like recipes for gaining muscle and example workouts for your level of equipment. Basically, if you train at home with no equipment, if you have a fully equipped gym, or if you have everything, right? So let's get back to the video. To the biceps and brachialis. I'm pretty sure you know what the biceps is. It's basically this muscle right here. The brachialis is a muscle under that, and the brachialis is a muscle that can't be seen directly. However, if you make it bigger, your arms will get wider from the front and it will push the bicep out, so it will create the illusion that you have a bigger bicep. Basically, it contributes a lot to the width and thickness, how's it called? Yeah, width and size of your arm, even though it's not directly seen. Okay, so this muscle is also bigger than the bicep, so it makes sense to train it. So I never really isolated biceps or brachialis calisthenics ever. They work very heavily. If you do pull-ups and inverted rows, you'll feel your forearm and your upper arm burning, trust me. However, if you're trying to go your biceps specifically, and biceps is like a priority to you, or you always had the goal of having big biceps, right? I would recommend you to do chin-ups. Basically chin-ups, if this is a normal pull-up, this is a chin-up, right? So you supinate your wrist, you have a reverse grip, as they call it, right? You have similar lat engagement as the normal pull-up, however you have way more bicep engagement. And chin-ups are gonna really hit your biceps very hard. So if your goal is to try and go that biceps, do chin-ups. And just switch out pull-ups or chin-ups, trust me. Next one, if you want to grow your brachialis is gonna work with normal pull-ups and obviously to some extent with chin-ups. However, I would recommend you to do the neutral grip pull-up. Basically a pull-up where your hands, instead of they face, imagine there's a bar right here, instead of facing like this, they face like this. Basically, the wrists face each other. This is the same sort of, not movement pattern, but hand positioning as if you would do the hammer curl. And the hammer curl is basically the gym version of this. And it's, yeah, hammer curl is used to isolate the brachialis and the forearm. However, if you do this, the neutral grip pull-up, you're still going to have massive lat engagement, so you're going to grow both. So I would actually recommend you, if you're trying to go arms, just do both of these. You don't really need to think that that if you do these movements, you don't have as much lat engagement and whatever, right? The lat engagement is pretty similar. It's quite the same, honestly. So I would recommend you to do this. I personally do the neutral grip one. And if you have rings and you want to use them, you can also try a ring bicep curl. Basically, you set the rings up in front of you, then you grab them and you sort of curl them to the back of your head. You can type this on YouTube and you can watch tutorials that do this. I don't do this exercise personally. I might start incorporating it, but if you want to, if you want to isolate the biceps, you can do it that way. However, like I said, for this you need rings. So if you don't have rings, automatically cross this option out. You're gonna have to stick with those two. And by the way, if you do normal pull-ups, you're still gonna grow massive arms. Don't think that normal pull-ups don't grow your arms and that normal pull-ups sort of take the arms out of the equation. No. Your arms will still work, and in some cases you might have to end the set, not because your back failed, but because your arms failed, right? Forearms are pretty simple to grow because they don't need much. Like, basically hanging will do it. Hanging and doing normal pull-ups, because when you're doing normal pull-ups, you're hanging from a bar, right? So for forearms, I don't actually recommend doing anything because they're just gonna come as a substitute of your pull-up training. And rows if you do rows, right? So don't worry about forearms. If you train calisthenics, forearms will grow automatically, okay? Don't worry about that. So, as a conclusion, please don't think that you can't get big arms with body weight only. It doesn't matter what any fitness influencer tries to tell you and tries to sell you the program or whatever, right? You don't need weights to get big arms. You can do it with body weight only. However, like I said, you have to make some tweaks. So, focus on pushing and pulling movements, getting stronger at those, going to failure, your arms will grow. However, if you want to isolate them, right? Use skull crushers on the low bar with your body weight to isolate the long head of the triceps. If you want a more biceps focused pull, do chin-ups instead of normal pull-ups. And if you feel like isolating the biceps, then try ring curls. If you have rings. If you don't have rings, then and you still want big biceps, stick to chin-ups. However, honestly, pull-ups and dips will do it, right? So, that's actually it with this video. That being said, you heard my information, you heard what I'm trying to tell you. Please don't give up. Follow the tips that I gave you and see you. Bye.